because the entire human race is actually facing this mental health challenges and
Right.
issues. Basically, children are same. Their emotions are very minimum, but their environment.
The preschool years are often described as the foundation of a child's emotional and social development. Yet today, many educators and parents are noticing more frequent meltdowns, shorter attention spans, difficulty with patience, and challenges in managing even small frustrations among young children. From increasing screen time to changing parenting styles and reduced opportunities for unstructured play, several factors are reshaping the emotional world of preschoolers. So the question is, why are preschoolers struggling with emotional regulation? And what can schools and families do to support them better during these crucial early years? Good afternoon and a warm welcome. You're watching Education News Network. I'm your host, Nitya Krishnamurthy, and today we're discussing why are preschoolers struggling with emotional regulation. To explore this crucial and timely topic, we have with us an esteemed preschool education leader joining us today. So let's welcome Dr. Beena Pinto, founder of Anibi Chain of Preschools. Welcome, ma'am. We're delighted to have you with us today.
Thanks so much.
So, to begin with our discussion, since the topic is centered on emotional regulation in early childhood, I'd like to know why do you think we're facing issues in this regard today? Like, is it because preschoolers today are experiencing bigger emotions, or are adults becoming less equipped to help them manage?
I would say both, because the entire human race is actually facing this mental health challenges and
Right.
issues. Basically, children are same. Their emotions are very minimum, but their environment is loud and they are fast. They are very demanding. But the adults have also been stressed out. They actually tend to take more than they can manage. So all that pressure is adding on, building up, and making the small emotions sound big. So the children's emotions can be monitored or regulated with adult understanding, being aware of what is happening. For instance, a mom is taking a child to the shop, and we all know that end of it, we are all in nuclear families. So the chores, household chores are too many. So when she is shopping and the kid is crying, uh, it's very difficult to accept that, yeah, in a social area or environment, my child is putting me to shame. So the
An embarrassing
next
spot.
instinctively, yeah, right. So very instinctive reaction would be to shout or to just give by whatever they need. So that way we're literally spoiling the child. If you give pamper them, they take it for granted that I can be anything, and then they react in a similar way in any other situation. But if you shout at them at that moment, then they become more aggressive. So instead, just take a moment, take off your phone or messaging, whatever you're doing, and sit down, kneel, and give eye to eye contact and explain that it's not a right time to buy that. And whenever, whatever concern, whatever is the issue, or if it's unhealthy, just explain and then take it as an alternative. So the child will understand. So that's the way to be a best parent.
Right. So quality time is what is key, and I think the kids these days are not really getting that given the schedule of
Right.
parents.
They are
Yeah.
very experienced when compared to whatever we have experienced in life at that toddler age. They have seen much more. So
Right.
it's explaining it to them is necessary.
Correct. So, do you think we're unintentionally raising overmanaged children who struggle to cope with frustration, boredom, or disappointment?
Yes, I would say I would agree to that, because we are doing everything a little more. So we are over protecting them, we are over expecting them on their returns, or we are over scheduling their time. So we just want them to be occupied completely. So what happens is, just because I need time for my career, for my workspace, for my lifestyle to be in a certain way, I want my kid to be occupied. So instead of being there doing things, I just no kid is bored. So and that word is quite famous in this, especially in the younger generation. Anything they have to be continuously occupied. if you leave them for 2 minutes, they just bored. So
Right.
they don't even know the meaning of it. Yeah. Even if you're traveling at a distance, everybody is on the phone. And they're at home sitting and they're still bored. So as soon as the word bored comes, parents' instinct is to give the phone.
That's become convenience now.
Yeah,
Right.
it is very easy, right? So instead, tell them, okay, look outside the window, walk around, take a walk, or watch the nature. We don't observe anything around us.
Yeah.
So what happens is when they come to the preschool, and that's also confined to a classroom, they have some worksheets to be done. What happens in the digital world is they're observing everything. They feel everything is giving you an answer. If there is an ad, kid knows how to scroll through. And here, if you give a worksheet and he doesn't know the answer, it just adds on the frustration. And they just go blank. They don't do anything. And that frustration is shown in different ways. So I think is being aware of that moment and not giving them an alternative as a digital screen time. Instead, teach them the values, teach them something, spend a little more time. Yeah, again, back to the time. But whatever time you have, involve them. If you're cooking, help them. These are the skills which they need in life.
And I think boredom is also important, right? Because that's when creativity comes in. That's when, like you said, they observe around them.
Correct.
So parents need to know this. Yeah.
So what we have been brought up saying that yes, you can spend some time thinking, introspecting, and that's how we had only 8 hours of working. But even for this generation, both parents are working completely, maybe more than 12 hours. But younger children don't understand that. Expectations have gone, so they can't sit idle. That it just builds that frustration which they can't handle.
Right. So, ma'am, how much of emotional dysregulation in young children do you think is linked to screen exposure and reduced real world play, since you just spoke about this?
Oh, yes, I think, in my opinion, 70 to 80% we can observe in all the preschools that I check into. It's very common because they don't know what to do. They don't know how to get things. They think everything is available. There's no answer for anything. Everything they need, they want it, they need it, and they just start demanding. So the reaction to it is only they don't even know how to negotiate. Suppose a child goes home and the both parents are busy, so the screen time is the only time they get. They don't
Right.
even have time to step out. So once they're back to preschool, they don't know how to socialize with the other child. If suppose they're playing in the sand toy, somebody takes the shovel off, they don't know how to ask for it or how to negotiate, how to share things. Instead, they scream, they throw things, they show that tantrums. Or
So that's a major problem. So how should
can't
we
take
be?
the failure too, because
Correct.
see, suppose we all started with the building blocks. That's why Montessori equipments are important too. So every time the tower falls down, that's a failure. But we start teaching the child indirectly that failure is acceptable. You can retry. So, but in video games, it's not like that. So they just end up getting into another level. They just build on that frustration. Here they slowly learn together. So motor skills development with social skills is very
Right. So it's important for preschools to have a lot of unstructured play.
Correct.
But then are kids receptive to this sort of a thing? Because at
Very
home they're
much.
using screens.
Right. So that's something we follow in IB, where we are completely restricted screen. Other than the music, or maybe we have something like we do have theme-based curriculum where we take them on a field trip on experience the real world. But sometimes we can't take them, for example, underwater. So we just show them on screen. Other than that, we completely avoid. So what happens is when they have something else which they can explore, they have not seen and touched. The touch and feel of the sensory objects, what is available in the form of equipments or objects in the preschool is very important in their development.
Right. So, ma'am, what are some of the earliest warning signs that a child's emotional struggles are going beyond typical toddler behavior?
So most of us are brought up differently. So every time I wouldn't put this in a immediate bracket and say this is right and this is wrong. But normally a child between the age of 3 to 4 would show tantrums any which ways, and 5 to 10 minutes maximum is the crime time. But if somebody is not able to console that person, that child, beyond that 10 minutes, then there is a problem. You need to look into it. And I've seen kids crying for 40 minutes continuously. Whatever you do, whatever distractions you get, or however you console, they will not accept. Even a small reason, actually, they don't even need a reason. Okay, if the sandwich is cut into square instead of a triangle, and that becomes a big issue. So you pamper them after that, doesn't matter, but they can't console themselves, they can't get out of it. So then you really need to check. And then there are a few things where they start hiding, no, because they are scared of the adult or supervision.
Yes.
So those are the things. They start hiding, they start spoiling somebody else's things, and they start lying, saying that I didn't. Blame game starts, and all these things are to be watched.
And what do you think are the reasons for these sort of behaviors?
Most probably because I'll give you an example. And so it's like, okay, so there's a dad who picks up the child and goes in the car after preschool. And on the way, a child always loves to share with parents. So we have to be very attentive listening to them. And suppose parent is busy on his own thoughts about work or a meeting, and child says, I fell down. And the immediate reaction to that, we might feel it's okay, right? Reaction, we understand parents' perspective. But if dad says, okay, be careful next time. So the first thought in the child's mind is that, okay, my dad doesn't care about it. So he's just telling me the future, in future, you don't think. But instead, you just ask the child questions and how did you get hurt? When did you get hurt? Where did you get hurt? How did you react in that situation? Or what did you do? Who did it? Did you shout? Did you cry? Did you do? All these questions will provoke the thoughts. So those are very important in upbringing a child. So that will actually help the child share more. So the next time you have a bigger problem and the child is free to share because his parent is listening.
So, ma'am, in today's fast-paced families, what emotional needs of preschoolers, according to you, are being overlooked the most?
In today's world, everybody is stressed out. Of course, especially in the cities, tier 1 cities, we have this issue that everybody is competing instead of collaborating. So that's why preschools are very important, because they are like your second parental home. Earlier days, we had our grandparents, being around. It was always family, friends, all together, neighbors. But nowadays, it's more of nuclear families. Even the neighbors compete with each other. Even the colleagues have competitions. There's nobody understanding anybody. So the most of the health issues, mentally challenging issues, are because of this. So we forget that we are all human, and that's when the children are always taken for granted. Everybody wants a child, but they don't know how to take care of it, and they forget it's a gift given by the Almighty. But the main problem here is not that they don't want to, but they can't. They themselves don't know how to handle. The parents will throw their tantrums. Like, no, all of us, when we go back, if a child spills milk on the sofa or something, the immediate reaction is that you shout. But the same reaction won't be justified when the parent is at work and immediate boss or anybody colleague spills. We react differently because they are not our people, right? So the reaction towards child should be little more thoughtful. Instead of reacting, then we say, okay, let's clean up together. So those kind of a thing, I think more of, I'm a mindfulness coach, so I will always advise parents to be more thoughtful in taking a deep breath before even you react, and don't react, but respond to your child. So they understand that they have made a mistake, and how to solve is what you do next. That is a solution they give, and they observe you more than they repeat what you do, right? So you need to be very the right person, but however you want your child to be, you be that.
Right. So, adult behavior plays a huge role.
Exactly.
And our children are struggling more because adults around them are overwhelmed. Do you have any instances of this?
Yes, definitely. Because I should accept that we end up counseling parents more than the children when they come to the preschools. Right from the admission, till they are out of the school for a different higher education. We still have parents complaining about the child. It's more like, PTMs are to listen to the complaints. So instead, they need, like we discussed, they over appreciate everything. They overpraise the child. So anything no is taken as a negative emotion. So we should start accepting that all can't be same. My child can't be equal to anyone else's child. So that competition in your mind is only putting more pressure on you. So just accept your family, your child as different one. Like everybody can be at peace.
Right. If there's one change that preschools and parents must make immediately to build emotionally resilient children, what do you think that should be?
I would say be mindful. That's what we have been propagating. Every day spend 5 minutes onto yourself because you are the reason that the family exists. Same I tell the preschoolers or even our staff, you come to not just teach but to facilitate that toddler who is coming to you as a second home. So I think all of us start thinking it should be more child centric. It's not about you, your ego or your lifestyle or those things comes later. So the focus should be on giving that attention to the toddler, especially below 7-year-old. They need the maximum attention. And if you listen to them, you learn a lot. So I learn from every child I interact with. And we have to develop, to summarize, we have to develop the listening skills and encourage the child to open up.
I absolutely agree with what you said. Thanks so much. This brings us to the end of today's discussion. Thank you so much, Dr. Beena Pinto, for sharing your insightful perspectives with us today.
Yeah.
So, emotional regulation is not something children simply grow out of. It is a skill that must be nurtured patiently through relationships, routines, play, communication, and emotionally safe environments. In the early years, especially, the role of educators and parents becomes critical in helping children understand and express their emotions in healthy ways. With the rapid evolution of the world around children, perhaps the need of the hour is not just smarter learning, but softer, more emotionally aware childhoods. Thank you for watching Education News Network. For more such videos, do visit our channel, theann.com, and make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. For now, signing off, this is Nitya Krishnamurthy.